Hey everybody, Arnaldo here broadcasting from Fidelio's Frequency. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about a vinyl subscription service that is relatively new, started off in November of 2023, so it's a little over 18 months that it has been around. And I've never really tried it. I've seen some of their releases. I was interested in a few, but I never really pulled the trigger. I finally did this month, and I'm talking about the Interscope Vinyl Collective. And let's take a look at the first purchase that I got, which, as you can see from behind me, is an album from the 90s. It celebrates this year its 30th anniversary, and that is the self-titled album by Elastica. Before we get into Elastica, I did want to briefly give you an overview of the Interscope Vinyl Collective, the subscription service, or the Vinyl Club, as some people may refer to it as. And it started in 2023, at the tail end of 2023. November was the very first release, and they chose an iconic album from the Interscope label, and that is the Dr. Dre, The Chronic. And I was quite interested in getting it, but then I realized that it wasn't a new remaster, and all that was different was the artwork, very nicely redesigned artwork, and different vinyl color. So I didn't quite think it was worth pulling the trigger right away, especially on a brand new subscription service, and the write-up of the details of the specs wasn't really satisfying my interest, or at least it wasn't giving too much detail about what this pressing was about. So I passed on that. It is now sold out, and in the aftermarket it goes for multiples of the original price. In the Interscope Vinyl Collective, you get one new exclusive release every month. It is usually limited to around 3,000 copies. They're numbered, and they have two different pricing tiers, one for international, one for US. I'll only briefly go over the US ones, and based on the length of the subscription, the actual pricing of each release is slightly different. So if you do a monthly subscription, the pricing comes down to $48 per release, and that is quite high, but it's including the shipping. If you select the 3-month tier, it comes down to $45. And if you select the 6-month tier, it comes down to $43. And if you select the yearly subscription, it comes down to $40 per release, which is actually quite good nowadays, considering that you're getting a limited edition pressing. Sometimes there's extra material, but we'll get into that shortly. Being a member of the Interscope Vinyl Collective gives you access to certain perks. You have the opportunity to purchase exclusive merchandise inspired by that current month's release. You have access to purchase rarities and test pressings, as well as a one-time 20% discount coupon, as well as early access to other vinyl releases. So in addition to the special release, you have some additional perks. Whether or not they're worth it, it's up to you to decide. But I've been watching the releases for the past 15 months, and on and off I have been interested in a few of them. Some albums I already owned, other albums I wasn't really interested in, and other albums I didn't really think that they offered anything unique from what is currently available. Another reason why I hesitated for quite a bit to join the Interscope Vinyl Collective was that the initial reviews weren't so great. Some people were complaining about the mailers, receiving damaged records, receiving warped records, receiving very noisy pressings. So I really held off for quite a bit until this month. And it seems that they have probably ironed out some of the earlier kinks, because this packaging is actually quite good. Pretty sturdy mailer, very reinforced corners, so to prevent any damage. And I have to say that my record arrived in perfect condition. And now let's finally take a look at the release that I received. And you saw it here on the original artwork in the background, but here it is, the self-titled album by Elastica. As you can see, it has an alternate cover. It comes, of course, in this resealable plastic sleeve that I want to say it's more of like a soft, not very clear. It's a little cloudy, but it still serves its purpose in protecting the record. So that's a nice touch. It's resealable, and we'll open it here so that you can see the cover in its full glory. And you can see the back of it. You can see that it is numbered, nice foil numbering. There are only 3,000 numbered copies of this specific release. I wanted to actually show you that it comes with a lithograph that reproduces the original album cover. I guess they're trying to emulate a little bit Vinyl Me Please in offering something extra in the packaging. I have to say, I was a member of Vinyl Me Please for many years. You probably saw my videos on my channel, and there was a certain edge when it came to the presentation of each release and the materials they were using. Their additional prints were in much better cardstock, I have to say. This is just, you know, a standard cardstock. It's nice. It reproduces the original artwork, but it definitely doesn't compare to what I was used to getting from Vinyl Me Please. But I'm not complaining just about the print. Nice that they chose to alter slightly, make it unique, the album cover, even though I do prefer the original album cover. They made it a gatefold with reproduction of the original inner sleeve. I would like to mention that when it came out in 1995, it was a single sleeve and had an inner sleeve, but it also had some copies had an additional flexi disc with one extra track. I mentioned earlier that this is a 2-album set. The first album is the original album. The second album is B-sides and some rarities. But let's take a look at the inner sleeves. Not very creative, just a solid color, repeating almost the font color from the cover, a crimson, so blank on the first one, which is the original album. But the second album does have at least the description of all the tracks and where they were taken from, what B-sides of which singles they were part of. So that is, I guess, quite informative for those of you who want to know where they came from. Blank on the other side. And the vinyl was also nicely done. They chose to press it at RTI, so kudos to Interscope Vinyl Collective for selecting a very good pressing plant. Rice paper sleeves included, in addition to the inner sleeves that we saw. And the first original album is pressed on this smoky marbled red-orange with custom labels. And the second album of B-sides and rarities on a smoky gray-black, also in the rice paper sleeve and also with custom labels. I have to say that the pressing quality is excellent. I would not expect any less from RTI. It was flat, it was centered, it was silent. I have to say not a lot of surface or background noise, except maybe a couple of clicks here and there, but I didn't have a chance to clean it yet, so those may also go away. So I was very impressed with the quality of the pressing. And now the mastering. I don't know the source of the mastering. I have to assume there is a rumor going around that the original tapes are lost or missing. They probably are from digital files. I have to say I don't own an original, but both the original album as well as the B-sides and rarities sound fantastic. A nice punch, nice soundstage. I have nothing else to compare it to other than the CD, and I haven't really had the chance to compare it to the CD. So I'm very happy with how it sounds, how it was pressed. And let's talk a little bit about what is on the B-sides. The bonus disc has pretty much every B-side or extra demo that was released by Elastica. I want to say 97% of that was included on the bonus disc. They did leave out 2 studio tracks. One is only a 40-second song. It's called Jam 2. And the track Gloria, which was featured on as a B-side on a few of their singles, does not appear on the bonus disc. Maybe the master's lost, or maybe it was just a creative decision, but you don't have a fully complete B-side collection. There are also a scattering of live tracks that were on the singles, the original singles, which are not included. There was room because the extra disc is much shorter, so maybe I guess it was a creative decision, or maybe they did not have those masters and they decided they couldn't really include them. And one final touch, I mentioned earlier in the original pressing of the album that came out in 1995, there was a flexi disc. That song is included on here. I believe the song was Cleopatra, and the initial pressing also had a fanzine, which was called the Elastic Catalog. Here, reproduced identical, and I'll give you a preview. It's all in black and white, and it tells you a little bit about the origin of Elastica, as well as some black and white pictures of the band, of some of the singles. It definitely has that fan club or fanzine type of vibe. I'm glad they included that. They included the track from the original flexi disc and all of these B-sides and rarities. So I'm very happy with the creative choice or the content, the curation of the release. I'm also very happy with the presentation. If I have to say one thing, Vinyl Me Please had gotten us used to those heavy cardboard tip-on jackets, really nicely produced, most of them in glossy finish. This is your standard cardstock. It's fine. For the price, maybe someone could say they could have given you a better quality of jacket. Not complaining, I guess we're pushing the envelope, maybe the price up a little bit more. But Elastica, I haven't told you about Elastica. They only released 2 albums. Their first one came out in '95. Elastica was born out, I don't want to say the ashes of, but Justine Frischmann as well as Justin Welsh were original members in a very, very early incarnation of one of my favorite bands, Suede. They left Suede and decided to form their own band. And Justine also dated for a while. It was very high profile in the indie or Britpop scene. She dated Damon Albarn, who's actually credited as Dan Abnormal on here, but everyone knew it was Damon Albarn. I think he plays piano on 1 or 2 of the tracks. Inspired by punk, post-punk, they had a couple of lawsuits for copyright infringement, which were settled out of court because they were heavily reminiscent of a few tracks from the band Wire and maybe some other band. But all in all, it's fun music. They imploded after their second album, which was heavily delayed. Only came out, I believe, in 2000, and called The Menace, maybe. And yeah, don't even know where they are. If you have any insight on the whereabouts of Justine Frischmann and the remaining band members, please feel free to leave a comment. Also, if you have the original, let me know what you think. Maybe you don't have this one, but let me know your thoughts about the sound quality of the original. So, Interscope Vinyl Collective. I decided to take a chance and sign up for the 3-month membership. Because I saw that the upcoming releases could be interesting. Not a huge fan of the next release, of the next band. I don't know them really well. That is Angels and Airwaves. I Empire, I think, is the name of the album that will be featured next month. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll give you a quick review on those albums whenever they arrive. But for now, I am really enjoying Elastica's debut album on the Interscope Vinyl Collective. And that wraps it up for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Please don't forget to do that if you haven't already. I love your likes and your dislikes, and please leave a comment. Please point out whatever I got wrong, and let me know your thoughts if you are a member of the Interscope Vinyl Collective. Until the next video, I will see you. Thank you again for watching, and that's all for today.